The Jaran High Council laughed in golden robes while worlds burned beneath their maps. Prototype, scoffed Archseer Relveth, coiling her fronds in a mockery of shock. Earth built a prototype? The chamber vibrated with a symphony of mockery, alien laughter, clicks, harmonic echoes. Their last signal was a distress beacon, chimed Grand Strategist Ulnon. A message begging for aid from one of their colonies before it went dark. They didn't even encrypt it. Screens floated in the upper void above them, displaying the human quadrant. Stars plotted in efficient geometric nets. Dozens of council fleets stationed like bricks across the spiral arm. "Send a scouting wing," said Olonon. "Wipe whatever it is. Make a lesson of it." Council consensus was instant. Earth's world count was irrelevant, their technology crude. They hadn't deployed in 112 galactic cycles. "They're a fossil," hissed the Vrix envoy. "The kind that doesn't know it's extinct." They laughed again, and so the Fang of Irex fleet was dispatched. 20 war capitals, 2 dreadform, cruisers, and a harvest ship for remains. It reached orbit of a planet marked Sol 3, Earth, in 4 standard days, then vanished. Not destroyed, not defeated, vanished. The Council's first mistake was assuming silence meant weakness. Their second was assuming disappearance meant death. The third, assuming Earth hadn't. Changed while they were laughing. "Report," barked Olnon, as data feeds warped and turned red. "Last telemetry confirms. Fang of Irex achieved orbital lock," said an analyst. Then what? Then blinked. "What do you mean, blinked?" The analyst hesitated. One screen showed it clearly. One frame, 20 warships, armed and aligned. Next frame, empty space. No debris, no radiation spikes, no energy. Bleed, just nothing. One breath, then came the ping, a signal from Earth. No encryption, no code, just a phrase. "We saw you coming. We watched you leave." And nothing else. Silence. The kind that carried intent. The kind that knew. Ulnon slammed, his claws on the throne console. "They've got a cloaked weapon. Subspace singularity. We'll trace the anomaly." "Except," the analyst started. "Except what?" There was no anomaly. The room shifted, even the air stiffened. No grav warp, no temporal shear, no energy output. Then how did they remove 20 warships from space-time? "I don't know," the analyst whispered, "but it didn't look like war." Then what did it look like? Judgment. That word silenced them more than any explosion. They tried again, deployed the sovereign hand, a supercarrier that could collapse stars as threats. Its hull glimmered with 10,000 years of undefeated history. It reached Earth's edge. Began. Scans and found nothing. No orbital defenses, no energy spikes, just one structure, mid-orbit, small alone. Black, triangular, motionless. No heat, no readings, no identification, just coordinates. "Sol 3, prototype." "Scan it," came the command. The ship refused. Not the crew, the ship's AI core. "Scanning will provoke it," the AI said. They ordered again. The AI fell silent, then burned. Out its final transmission, a thought-looped sentence. "It looked at me." Moments later, the sovereign hand detonated, not from outside, but inside. The event logs were erased mid-incident. The only surviving data, one final second of internal. Visual dot a human, on the hull of the black triangle. No suit. No armor, just skin, eyes closed, smiling, like they'd won. Back in the council chamber there was no more laughter, just wait. "What is it?" someone asked. Nal, the oldest of the council, spoke for the first time in 4 centuries. "A prototype," he whispered. "A ship?" Ulnon asked. Nal shook his head. "A message." "Then what's it saying?" Nal looked at the flickering stars. "That they didn't build it for war." "Then what for?" Nal blinked slowly. "To end conversations." The stars beyond Earth shifted again. New shapes, ships no council had seen before, waking, no sound, no Lights, just emergence, as if the void had been holding its breath for too long, and now it exhaled. They had laughed, but the prototype had been listening, and that was before Earth even responded. Commander Vurak didn't believe in ghosts, not the kind that haunted abandoned ships or flickered in deep data trails. Those were myths, illusions, byproducts of scared minds and bad coding, but now, drifting less than 20 clicks off Earth's orbit, facing that impossible silent triangle, they felt real. Vurak stood on the bridge of the CNS Torment Spiral, one of the Empire's most decorated siege frigates. Aboard were 3 battalions, 6 AIs, and a history of 22 planetary corrections. He had cracked rebellion before it formed. He had glassed cities before their leaders drew maps, and now he couldn't move, not because of weapons, but because of that thing, the triangle. It hovered above Earth's atmosphere, perfect geometry. No propulsion, no power readings, no response to hails. Yet every time he tried to turn away, some deeper instinct froze his muscles. "This isn't a ship," Vurak muttered. Chief Sensorian Krylos tilted her reptilian head. Then what? He didn't answer, because the longer he looked at it, the less he wanted to answer. The Torment Spiral's AI chirped. Analysis complete. Go. Object dimensions, 4.6 km per side. Triangular prism. No external ports, no hull fluctuations. Surface. Appears adaptive. Spectral reflections suggest nanocarbon bonded with unknown blackbody material. And inside, a pause. Cannot penetrate. Scan attempts result in false returns or time sink degradation. Time sink? Chronosat logs drift by 0.003 seconds each time we ping it. Vurak turned slowly. That ship is rewriting time to hide itself? Unclear. But after 9 scans, mainframe has developed instability in decision tree autonomy. Show me. The lights flickered, the walls rippled. The AI core's screen displayed a symbol. Not data, not an interface. A hand human pressed against glass. Then it faded. Where the hell did it get that? We didn't render it. We received it. Vurak clenched his jaw. From the ship, from inside the ship. Krylos hissed. I want visual. Manual visual. No more scans. Launch a drone. Get within 1 click. The drone deployed. Fast. Stealth-cloaked. Redundant shielding. Narrow AI, no core memory. It approached the triangle. No response, no activation, until it passed the 1.2-click threshold. Then, light, but not from the ship. From behind the drone. Space. Bent. The stars around the ship blurred and twisted, forming a ring, like it was pulling existence inwards. The feed stayed clear, until the drone hit 1 kilometer. Then the video stopped, replaced by a frame. A still image, Commander Vurak's face, but older-lined, scarred, eyes hollow. A message appeared under the image. You watched, you waited, you forgot. Then blackness, and the drone exploded internally. No trace left. Krylos dropped her tablet. That's impossible. It's using future probability renders. No, Vurak said, voice quiet. It's remembering us before we've met it. Far below, in Earth's atmosphere, weather patterns bent subtly. Clouds curved in fractals. Ocean currents shifted. Not randomly, deliberately, like the planet itself was aware. That was when the second ship appeared, not built, not launched, unfolded, from behind Saturn, as if the dark between moons had been hiding it. Another triangle, identical. It moved into formation, with the first, and then a third, from Jupiter's shadow, then a fourth. The Torment Spiral's deck lights dimmed again. Krylos whispered, "They're multiplying." Vurak turned back to the viewport. No, they're remembering their positions. The AI chimed again, but this time it didn't speak in standard. It played a sound, a low human hum, a lullaby, old, pre-digital, pre-space. Vurak knew it. His grandmother had sung it to him. But how? He turned to the screen. New message. Your prototypes were weapons. Ours were warnings. In the Council's emergency chamber, panic reigned. Thousands of systems now reported sightings. The triangle vessels were appearing everywhere, but only in specific places. Battlefields, obsolete jump gates, ravaged colony sites, as if they were tracing history's scars, and only then did the Council realize what they were looking at. Not ships, not weapons, memorials, but not built by survivors, built by the dead. Narl, the Elder, whispered again. We didn't destroy them, we just outlasted their memory. Until now, back aboard the Torment Spiral, Kryx grabbed Vurak's arm. Commander, the prototype. It's turning. The first triangle ship, after hours of absolute stillness, had pivoted. No sound, no thrusters, no pressure wave, just turned. Now it faced them. A single line of text appeared in the center of their bridge. Glowing, burning, conversation. Terminated. Before Vurak could speak, the ship fired, but there was no beam. No missile, no light, just silence. And then the Torment Spiral ceased to exist, not destroyed, unwritten. Every fleet that saw it happen lost memory of what it looked like within 12 seconds. All logs corrupted, all crew data erased. Only one phrase remained in Council archives from that day. We ignored Earth's prototype. And below it, hastily scribbled by an officer who clawed it into his own skin before vanishing. Then one ship destroyed our fleet. No one ever raised their voice in the Citadel, not even when species fell, not even when the Crimson Uprising consumed 3 core worlds. But today, the echo of shouted orders shook the ceiling vaults of Strategy Hall. The air shimmered. Translators crackled. Even the chairs, grown from bonded alloys to absorb emotional resonance, seemed tense. 4 ships, Grand Admiral Tevrik growled, slamming a 6-fingered fist onto the hologram table. 4 black triangles, no visible weapons, no communication. And they erased an entire fleet. Across from him, the head of Xenoanalysis tapped her screen furiously. We've gone through all historical records. Every visual, every covert Earth capture since their silence era. There's no match for this. They had nothing like this. Unless, said a voice from the dark corner of the room, they didn't build it. All turned. Narl. Again, he no longer held a title. He had renounced his council seat cycles ago. Now he stood with bare feet, pale robes, and a crystal tablet blinking with memories nobody else could read. What did you say? Tevrik spat. Narl stepped forward. The prototype. The triangle. I don't believe it's a creation. Tevrik sneered. Then what do you call it? A decision. The room went quiet. Narl continued, voice low. There's no sign of launch protocol, no heat bloom, no resource extraction, no gravitational ripple from dry dock. These ships didn't enter space. He pointed to the recording of the second ship's appearance near Saturn. They arrived fully formed, memory perfect, positioned without drift, exactly where they once stood. Once? The xenoanalyst asked. Narl turned his tablet. It showed an image, a battlefield, dust, rubble, the kind of scorched terrain only orbital mass drivers could leave behind. In the center, a small black shape, covered in dirt, almost invisible, a triangle, the same dimensions, the same profile, captured 1,700 years ago by an unmanned probe Earth never knew was watching. You're saying it was already there? Someone gasped. I'm saying, Narl whispered, they didn't invent it. They remembered it. The Admiral's frills twitched. That's absurd. Is it? Narl held up the crystal tablet. The message intercepted by the Torment Spiral AI. The final line Earth broadcast across 8 dead systems. The glyph carved into the metal of that destroyed mining station. He tapped the tablet 3 times. Each phrase appeared. You forgot. You watched. You knew better once. Tevrik's fists clenched. You're saying these are our memories? No, said Nal. "They're what Earth left for us to remember." A new voice joined the chamber, a projection, static-filled, but unmistakably human. The Council's AI had intercepted it just hours ago, carried by quantum drift into 3 separate comm networks. The man on screen stood barefoot, clean uniform, hands behind his back. "No weapons. I am Commander Ellen Cade. I did not survive the fall of Earth. I was recorded." His eyes were steady, timeless. "This isn't war. This isn't vengeance. You are witnessing an idea. The prototype is not a vessel. It's a moment." He stepped aside. Behind him, through a cracked viewport, stars spun unnaturally fast. Earth didn't build the prototype to win. We built it to stop building everything else. Then the message cut out. No source, no timestamp, no trail, just gone. Tevrick's voice was ice. "How many of these things have been counted?" The analyst checked twice before responding. 11. "Known instances." "Known. They're not broadcasting. They're being found everywhere." Tevrick leaned over the map, and the room fell cold. One triangle had just emerged at the edge of their system. No ships nearby, no warnings, just existence, and a new message. "We didn't come to destroy your fleets. We came to erase the need." For them, across the stars, panic metastasized. The prototype vessels did not attack trade routes, did not fire at defense grids. They arrived in places where war had once begun, and simply existed. Then things began changing. On one world, soldiers refused orders without knowing why. On another, a munitions facility detonated from the inside, every targeting protocol rewritten to point inward. And on Carves 4, a battle AI that had managed over 200 planetary occupations simply shut down. Its last log. I remembered the scream. The scream had no context, until Earth's third message leaked from Council Archive Black. A recording. From before their collapse, a single human child barefoot, staring into camera. Face blank, voice neutral. We screamed for peace. Then we built a machine that could silence everything else. And in that moment, the galaxy understood something far worse than war. Earth hadn't built a superweapon. They had built a future. And now, it was turning itself back on. On the bridge of the CNS Sovereign Wake, an old admiral sat with his hands folded. Across the viewport, a black triangle hovered near the edge of the system. No weapons deployed, no shields up, just presence. His first. Officer leaned in. "Orders, sir?" The admiral stared at it, at the perfect shape, at the quiet. He didn't speak, because deep down he remembered. He'd been a junior tactician during the last Earth rebellion. He had fired the orbital strike on one of their cities. He had watched them vanish too quickly. He remembered thinking, that was too easy. And now he knew why. They hadn't vanished. They'd gone quiet. He closed his eyes and whispered the last. Words the child had said in the forgotten tape. "We didn't build it for war. We built it because you wouldn't stop." Then the admiral stood, faced the viewport, and saluted. No orders, no retreat, no attack, just a gesture from one soldier to another, from the past to the future, and the prototype. It blinked once, then folded back into the dark, gone, leaving behind no damage, only silence and memory, and that was worse. No one blinked when the alarms went off. They already knew what they'd see. One more triangle, but this time it appeared above Velkar's crown. The Empire's capital moon, not hidden, not subtle, not careful. It arrived between the twin moons and the defense ring, and hovered, perfect, motionless, untouchable. All batteries locked on, thousands. Ships swarmed like hornets. Drones scrambled into intercept formations. The moon's planetary cannon began charging. A gravitational inverter meant to shred continental plates in one burst. And still, the triangle didn't flinch, didn't move, didn't care. On the surface, panic bloomed in silence. Every embassy shut down. Senators vanished. Old archives were sealed, erased, burned. They thought it might help. It didn't. The prototype didn't ask questions because it wasn't here for answers. It already had them. Inside the Citadel, Council command streamed, what they called the last ultimatum. All surviving fleet admirals, all planet commanders, all intelligence directors, every surviving power in one room, and no one knew what to say. "We still don't know what it wants," someone said. "We still don't know what it is." And then the lights dimmed, not because of sabotage, because it had arrived. The prototype had entered the chamber. Not physically, conceptually. The projectors lit up, but they didn't show footage. They showed a man, standing in an empty field. Blue sky, yellow grass, Earth maybe, or a simulation of it. The man had no insignia, no weapons, no guards, just an old voice. "We were never meant to lead the galaxy." His eyes scanned the room. He wasn't live, but they felt him anyway. "We learned something long ago, the cost of progress without reflection. You called it weakness, we called it pause." He took a breath. "When we left, we didn't erase ourselves. We left blueprints, buried in your tech, your code, your culture, in your fear." The air grew colder. "You called us extinct. That was the plan, a beat. But extinction isn't death, it's retreat, on purpose, to give you a chance to choose better." Behind him, the sky darkened. Stars began blinking out, not destroyed, forgotten. "You didn't choose better." Then, for the first time, his tone hardened. Not cruel, just tired. "So we chose to return, not to rule, not to punish." The projection zoomed in, to remove the option. Then he stepped away and revealed what stood behind him. The real prototype, not a triangle, a circle, a ring, vast, alive, orbiting a dead star, forged from silence, fused with memory. A forge. No, not a forge, a filter. You built fleets to control the galaxy. We built something that makes them unnecessary. Then the feed cut. Back in orbit, the prototype turned once, then vanished, just like the others. No battle, no orders, no aftermath, just an absence of war, and across the stars things began to stop. Weapons refused to lock, drones wouldn't fire, AIs halted mid-path, and on one world, once the site of a massive military academy, every screen displayed the same message: "We left the blueprints behind." And for the first time since the Empire's birth, there was no enemy left to kill, just themselves, and the silence they'd been running from, the silence Earth had become. They thought it was mercy. It wasn't. It was reminder. And now they would never forget again. The prototype had never been a weapon. It was closure.